Yo, what's up, boys? Today we're going to be taking a look at how to make a Metro Boomin type beat with all stock plugins. So we're not going to be using any paid for plugins, third-party plugins. It's going to be a complete beginner tutorial. I'm going to explain how I do everything, and it's just going to be basic for y'all who just started, and even if you're intermediates or advanced, stick around. You might find some tips that can help you. So I'm going to just jump right into it, making a Metro Boomin type beat, some like maybe without warning. I'm going to go at 116 BPM, and I'm just going to go right into it. I'll mute myself in and out, and here we go. We're going to work on the scale of G minor, by the way, so here we go. So right here I'm pressing Alt-R to randomize the notes, give it a more humanistic feel, and in a moment I'm going to press Alt-S to also strum the notes, so it sounds more like a piano. Now honestly, this piano sound is pretty rough. It's FL keys. I'm going to see if I can find a better sound. I'm going to go through some, what's it called? Like stock FL Studio presets. I don't even have the producer bundle, so I don't even have everything like Sakura or everything, so I'm going to see if I can find a sound. But right here, I laid down some chords in G minor. It's very simple. If you don't if you just started with chords, just find a note. So I'm in G minor. If the easiest way of going at it is put your root note at G and then just count every. So here I have the scale helper. So if you go to this arrow right here, go to helpers, scale highlighting. You can choose what scale you want. So right here I'm at minor, and then here you have the root note. So G minor. So I have the root note down, and now you just go. You skip one of these notes. So, in the key of G minor, it goes G, A sharp, C. So skip A, go to A sharp, and then skip C, go to D, and that makes a chord, and that is the chord of, oh, fuck, music theory knowledge come crazy. I'm gonna say it's the G minor chord, and it is. And I hope it is, because then I'd be lying to you, and my music theory knowledge would be questioned. So, wouldn't be a good start to my first YouTube video. So that's that. Now we go to the next chord, and there. And as you see, I'm repeating the notes D and A sharp, and that kind of gives it a repetitive tone. So there's kind of like these two chords are always playing. I just seen it a lot, so everything's alternating around those two. And then we have top notes that add more flavor. We're covering every tone here. We have bottom notes covering the low frequency, and then high notes covering the high, so it sounds like a full melody. And then you got these consistent chords playing throughout. Now we're going to strum these, and I'm going to see if I can find a better instrument. Right here I pressed Alt-X to modify the velocity. As you can see right here, the velocity of these notes, because I want to even these main chords out. And as you can see, I messed with it too. I didn't like the constant strumming. I like these just keeping a consistent one bar tone to them. And then here is a little bit of tension with the recurring D that's going to keep playing when the D sharp is played. So as you can see, I switched it to a flex piano. Stock plugin comes with FL Studio 20. It's a Yamaha C7 light piano. And here I copied the chords from the piano, the basic chords, into this choir preset, which is found under the packs, the choir ah section. So now the plan with this is this, I expect both of these, the high end will be cut. It'll sound way more lo-fi. And these ahs, I want to put a bunch of phasers, flangers on them to really just make them like a background element. And you'll barely hear them, but they'll just add texture to the mix. And yeah, so I'm going to mix these real quick, and then we're going to hop right into the drums. Also, a commonly asked question is, what do you put on your master channel? Now, always, the only thing I ever put on my master channel is a soft clipper, because you do not want your mix clipping. That's basically the most important thing. Compression is, if this gets sent out to an artist and a recording engineer, you're not going to want your beat overly compressed, because then the engineer is going to put even more compression on it to fit with the voice and mold with the voice, and it's just going to sound over compressed, and it's not going to sound humanistic. It's going to sound robotic, and there's really not going to be any points where the sound fluctuates and sounds human. It's just going to be commonly peaking at some point, and it's just not going to sound good to the ears or appealing. But obviously some compression is okay sometimes. If you want the drums to fit in with the mix better, it's okay. So that's fine. And then sometimes I'll boost a couple highs with the equalizer here. But other than that, I don't do much more. So alright, now I'm going to mix these, and we'll hop into the drums. Alright, so I've mixed the melody, and now it sounds like this. Now, I had to heavily drench these in effects. I never usually put on these many effects, but since we are using stock plugins, and as you can see I already cheated a little bit, I had to use a bit of a vinyl lo-fi thing. I would obviously prefer to use RC20. If you're going to spend your money on any third-party plugins, I would recommend Valhalla Vintage Verb and RC20. They are game changers, especially RC20. But I had to do with this for now. So here, for the piano, took out a bunch of high-end and low-end. So, I mean, the sound is basically filtered. Stereo shaper to make it wider. Heavily reverberated it. The vinyl. Flanger is just the default setting. And then delay here, just so it kind of echoes out a little bit. Also, very little bit of delay. The input volume cut, if you want to see any tutorials on how to use these delays. Anything like that, if you want further understanding, there it is. And the choir, same thing. Flanges. Flanger. I would have preferred to use Exhale here for vocal, but obviously limited to using stock plugins for this video. And yeah, heavily coated it in reverb, so it sounds like that. Now let's get on to the drums. And so for the drums, I'm going to be using Metro Boomin's Razor kit. It's a free drum kit. I'm not going to be using the stock sounds from FL Studio, even though you can. So here we go, the Razor kit. I mean, I think everyone has this kit, basically, or you know about it at least. It's the most basic kit. I'll show you. You can make anything out of it. So, yeah, here we go. Let's start the drums. So after a mix, quick 5-bar loop, these are the drums I came up with. Again, as you saw when I was making the drums, I kept going into them and I kept clicking Command or Control. I don't remember what it is on Windows, but on Mac it's Command E, and that brought up this audio editor. And I went to this whatever this is flag here, and I go to detect pitch regions, and it shows me that this plays in the this plays the key of F sharp. So that means when each kick plays, it plays on F sharp right here. So seeing as F sharp is not in the G minor key, the actual note F sharp is not in the G minor key, it is considered out of tune. It's not in tune. So I pitched it down, so now it plays F. And that's what I did for all of them. So the 808 was on G. Make sure to tune your 808s, by the way. I mean, this is basically a rule of thumb. Is you go here and you check it's G. And here, also, you can tell. So here you go. And see, the confusing thing is here, G sharp. This is G, and then it goes in F sharp. And this used to confuse me, but realistically, it's just the note is descending in velocity and frequency, so it's going to start going into the F sharp. But you don't have to worry about that because on the initial hit, which is what most people hear, it'll play G, and it's okay if it goes out of tune a little bit. You can't really tell. With the classic PR808, it goes from B on the initial kick to like where the 808 peaks at C, and most people keep that in C, like they don't tune it to B. So whatever. I mean, it's very minute of a difference. It's not that bad that you can't handle it. This was an E, so, and here I pressed the out, so I made it shorter, so it didn't have that. There was like a weird tone at the end when this snare played, and then everything else in key. So this is the final drums. So what Metro said a lot usually is that he doesn't put his kicks exactly where all the 808s hit, and so I don't know. I like the way that it hit every time here, but these little 2 hits right here, you can put an 808 over it just to stay true to that concept. You can follow it, you don't have to. It really depends on the vibe of your beat. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. And I'll show you how I mixed everything. Now, most of these kicks and 808s and drums in general, you don't know how many times they've been compressed. You don't really want to do too much compression unless it really fits in. So, I mean, usually this is all I do on all my drums. On the kick, I just take out the highs and maybe boost some mids, but in this case, I was just doing a quick mix, so it's fine. And then a peak controller, this is how I sidechain my 808s. Is I set the peak. You can copy these values. I got it from a Nick Mira tutorial. It's basically same exact preset. And yeah, and then you just click here, you right click this, link to controller, and control peak LFO, and this will go with the kick. So now every time these two hit, whoa, wait, hello? You see, alright, so the volume ducks when the kick hits, and yeah, you can do that. You can also do a thing where you route it to the first, you would go here, you right click, and you route it to this EQ circle, and so every time the bass hits, it would jump down and up, getting rid of the low end. But yeah, I do that. I mean, I alternate methods, and then for the rest of these drums, I just take out the low end so it doesn't clash. It's most of the times you don't have to. I just do it because it's an OCD thing. Then he said he puts reverbs on his hat, so I did that. So basically, the beat is done. I'm just going to quickly arrange it now, and then we'll take a final listen. So here we go.